It's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. I was just reviewing one of my clients' progress this year. His top line is up 60% because he pivoted quickly during COVID. His bottom line is up 300% because he listens to my advice. He takes action. We cut spending that doesn't provide a return. He is watching his profit account grow by 4 to 5 figures per month. That's what we're going to talk about today, how you can achieve those kinds of results. If you're new and haven't heard my interview with Mike Michalowicz, check it out. It's episode 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. 80% of business owners hate accounting, and I don't blame them, but you need someone to help you make good financial decisions. Many accountants and bookkeepers are bad at this. Plus, they don't think like you do. You need someone on your team to help you make great financial decisions that ensure you have the time and freedom to do what you love. Remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line. If you have a specific question, please reach out. Email me at questions@profitanswerman.com. I read every email. Today, we're going to chat about the concept of zero-based budgets, which means every single budget line item starts at zero. As you look at your spending, you have to ask yourself, does this provide value? Does it create a positive return to the business? I know some spending is a necessary evil and we have to do certain things for regulatory or other purposes. For me, December is a time of reflection on the year. I carve out 2 weeks of downtime. Now, if your business is built around the Christmas season, you can do this at the beginning of January. I want you to put thinking time on your calendar. It's a must. I suggest first thing in the morning, before the day gets crazy, before you use up all your willpower and before you use up all your brain cells, use this time to answer the question, how can we be more resourceful? That means spending less and getting a bigger return. Just because you have money does not mean you should spend it. COVID is causing transformation that was already going to happen over time to happen at an even faster pace. You as the business owner also need to transform as the world changes. Too often the mantra is, this is the way we always did it. And if you're going to let anyone in your business say that, I assure you, you will no longer be doing business in the future. Because things are changing faster and faster, and we need to pivot and move with them. So if that's the attitude in your culture, it's time to change that culture. Because someone else is out there seeing opportunity and is going to compete against you in a new and different way, or provide your customers something new and different that makes you obsolete. And that's why we have to constantly transform and constantly ask ourselves these questions. For every line item, ask yourself, why am I spending this much? Do we really need it? This also goes for your employees. Are they sitting in the best seat for their skills? Are they helping or hurting your business? Now, I never ever recommend you cut their salary, because if you're going to cut their salary, you're going to have massive trouble. You are better off moving them out and bringing in someone different versus cutting someone's salary. I know this is difficult from an emotional standpoint, and I get it. When we get stuck with decisions like this, delegate. Get someone else to do the things that you don't want to face up to. It's just the best way to do that. So one of the issues that we face as we look at a zero-based budget is fixed costs, like rent. I know you can't change that quickly, but with the disruptions we are seeing, ask yourself the question, is it time to buy a building as opportunities may be opening up and interest rates are so cheap? Is it time to reduce your footprint? Many large companies are going to remote work and cutting massive space overhead costs. Zoom makes the office footprint much smaller. How can your business pivot? By removing travel time. Is there a new and different way to meet your customers than you have in the past? People are being forced to make changes. Can you take advantage of that? In the past, most businesses run in silos. Silos no longer work. You've got to look at your organization as a whole and look at how all the pieces are working together. Because you may have two different parts of your business that are fighting each other, using up valuable resources and costing you a ton of money. Again, this comes back to thinking time and questioning everyone. As we look at our zero-based budget, let's look at our pricing and the inputs. Do we need to raise prices? I know sometimes that's difficult to do, but if you can provide value, you can raise prices. Do you need to remove products or services that are unprofitable from your business? Do you need to have a minimum order size to ensure that you are not wasting a lot of resources for very few dollars? This happens by going deep into the budgets and your spending to find the answers, which means you've got to set aside time to do this, and you've got to force yourself to do it. What are the things you are doing because that's the way you've always done them? Is there a purpose for it? Can you remove friction from your systems? Who's gumming up your processes? How do we speed them up? Can you reduce the amount of time you need to deliver your offerings? That increases profitability. Jeff Bezos treats every day at Amazon like day one. I want you to treat your spending and your business like day one. If you started the business today with the vast amount of knowledge you have gained, how would you do things differently? Why aren't you doing things differently now? Yes, change is hard and it takes time, but it makes for massive changes to the bottom line, like my clients experience. They are changing how they get their inputs and supplies. They're cutting their costs of goods by 50%. Do you realize how much that is going to drive their profits up? It's massive. They are thinking outside the box and exploring new ways to deliver value. Again, the principle here is thinking time. Start from scratch and ask yourself the questions. Today's episode is short, but it's powerful. Go back to zero and start from scratch. Look, I know you can't change everything overnight, and I don't expect you to. And I'm going to warn you not to change everything overnight, because drastic change like that disrupts the entire system and blows your business up. But as we head into 2021, I want you to think about, where will you be on December 31st, 2023? You can do more in 3 years than you can possibly imagine. But you need to set that course in motion now. We don't know all the steps we need to take, but we do need to have that goal of where will I be at that point. I've already written my business plan for 2023 as far as the results that I will achieve. Now I've got some ideas of how I'm going to get there. And while I think I may have a path, the reality is the world is ever changing. And so I'm going to have to pivot my way through this path. So I don't know the perfect path, but I know where I'm going. And because I have a target, it is so easy for me to stay focused and on task towards that target. So if nothing else today, I want you to put thinking time on your calendar. If you need help from your employees, have a thinking meeting where you go through all kinds of crazy ideas to see how to rebuild from the ground up in this ever-changing world that we are facing. If you've got a business partner, set a day aside to go have deep conversations about your vision for your business and how, if you were to start this business over today, what would you do differently? And then how can you start to implement those differences? Here's the bottom line. Someone is going to be really, really profitable next year. Why not you? Why can't you be the one who's super profitable next year and over the next 3 years as you pivot and grow your business and take advantage of profitable activities? Remember, profit is not an event. It is a habit. So build that habit. And this whole zero-based budgeting, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. We need to focus on that bottom line. That's why I start with zero. We think our way to a solution versus spending our way to a solution. If this is overwhelming and you want a done-for-you service, have me as your chief profitability officer because you have your zone of genius and that's where you want to focus on. I only work with a handful of clients so they get my full attention. I usually work with business owners who are growing to $500,000 to $5 million in revenue. There's a scheduling link in the show notes to get on my calendar to see if I can help you. I just want you to know I don't do high pressure sales because I only want to work with people who want to work with me. And if nothing else from this meeting, maybe I will give you a couple ideas that you can go out and implement in your business today. Because most times when I have a conversation with people, I see diamonds all around them on the ground that they could pick up so easily and take action with. If you want to learn more about living the life of your dreams, check out my other podcast. It's called Richer Soul. Let's repeat the mantra as we close out today. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Let's thrive and grow. Have a profitable week. Happy Thanksgiving.